Hello guys, only me again. And in this one, I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to try and do a YouTube poll. So somewhere in this video, in the top right corner, there's going to be a card and it's going to have some poll options, and hopefully this will work. But basically, I want to know what your favourite mage sister is out of Wrath of Course. If you don't know what they are, basically they're 5 units which have appeared in the GV Part 2 series, and they're all sisters, and each one have got like this elemental property behind them. And they are also heavily included in the storyline to Wrath of Course as well. I'm only about 50% of the way through the story. However, if anybody wants to read a chapter, I'm sure I can provide one of the chapters where you actually understand what's happening with the Mage Sisters as such. So yeah, let's just get on with the show. I've got a few profiles here to show you and to guide you through, and you can base your most favourite on, it can be anything you like, so it can literally be the artwork, it can be how powerful they are in the game, or it can be the lore or the story. It's entirely up to you. Just be sure to leave a comment down below which is your favourite, and also don't forget to check that card, the poll card in the top right corner. So yeah guys, let's get this started. So our first character in question is Iris, who's the Ember Mage. She costs 3 red elements. When she enters play, she deals 200 damage anywhere you like. Now she's got a 1 in 6 chance of missing. Roll a 2, she'll have a regular hit. A 3 is a hit and you get to draw a card. 4 is a hit and then she gains a 100 attack boost. 5 will make all the elements currently in play red. And 6 will mean you can play a red battle card for free. So moving on to the character herself, if you look to the right, she's a fiery element. She's a very timid personality. Early game I gave her 3 out of 3 stars because she's very good at the start of the game, and then late game I'd say I'm only going to give her 2 out of 3 stars. And then the lore behind Iris says, Iris is the youngest of the mages, however she is the happiest and most energetic of the lot. She's immune to the powerful UV rays of the sun, and in turn it charges her fiery magical properties. And this does actually is actually covered a little bit in the story of Wrath of Course as well, because they get trapped out in the desert, and Iris is pretty much the only one who can walk straight out into the sun and be unharmed. So yeah, that's Iris. She's got a nice 400 attack, 100 HP. And I actually really enjoy the artwork with this. I had a little bit of help from Randomopolis, just editing a little bit of resizing. But yeah, this is Iris the Ember Mage. If you like her, be sure to check in the top right corner. Moving on now is Sane the Holy Mage. Now she is 3 elements to get out. When she enters play, you get to draw a card. Now when she rolls a 1, she misses. When she rolls a 2, it's just a regular hit. A 3 is a hit and draw a card. Then when she rolls a 4, she gains a health boost. Rolling a 5, she gets to deal 300 damage to any unit in play. And 6, she can hit and then obviously prevent all damage any one unit deals this turn. So automatically, Sane gets a 3 out of 3 star for both early and late game. She's probably one of the best ones you want to get out. Looking at her property, she's imbued with the power of light. She's got a very proud personality, and that's solely because of the lore behind her in the story. So reading out the lore now, Sane is the eldest of the sisters, and she leads the group as the commander. She's always well aware of her surroundings and plans in advance to avoid injuries. So going on about a certain chapter in the game, Sane is actually, obviously as mentioned above, she's the commander of the sisters, she's the eldest, and of course she looks out for everybody in the just to watch out for everybody as well. And that kind of coincides with how powerful she is as a unit itself. Now, in the story itself, so there's 2 chapters actually where she makes an appearance, and one of them is where she's with Iris, the Ember Mage, and they're basically traversing across like a desert. And then later on in the story, there's a scene where all of the sisters are together. So yeah, that's basically Sane. I think she's got really cool artwork. Especially this is one of the first images where I started enjoying drawing like fire and stuff like that. As you can see the flame what she's got next to her. If you look underneath the text box, you'll see that she is actually holding that in her hand as well. So yeah guys, that's Sane. If you like her, be sure to click the box in the top right corner which appears at some point in this video. Alright, so now moving on to the next one is Naya the Grim Mage. Now I want to get straight into the lore with this one, and I'll read the card stats out in a minute. So the lore goes, Naya closely follows Satan's orders but no one else's commands. Given her dark appearance, she doesn't like using her magic as it always results in a painful slow death, and sometimes makes her feel she's been cursed rather than blessed with powerful abilities. So the story behind her is, even though she utilises the elements of the dark, black elements, she doesn't actually like using it because she doesn't like to see things die, more so in a slow, painful death. So in the story, she doesn't actually use her abilities all that often. So I think that's quite a bit of a twist, really, because when people see an element, a unit which uses like the power of darkness and that, they automatically become evil or bad. However, Naya's not. She's actually quite a nice person, but she can be quite stubborn at times. So I think that's something very interesting in the story as well. So moving on to the card stats. When she enters play, your opponent must discard a card. 1 is a miss, 2 is a hit, 3 she hits and you get to draw a card. 4 hit, she gains 100 attack boost. Rolling a 5, 1 unit in play has 0 attack for this battle. So basically, it renders any one unit's attack power useless, which can be quite useful actually. And then 6 is hit, put the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck into their used pile, so it kind of mills the opponent by 2 cards. She's a 300 body, so that's pretty good as an average, because on average these Mage Sisters are around a total of 500 when you combine the health and attack together, whereas Naya is actually on 6. She's the 3rd eldest of the sisters, and as mentioned above, obviously she follows Sane's command. However, she won't really listen to anybody else's interests and strategies. So that's Naya, and again, if you like her the best, be sure to click that button in the top right corner. Okay, so moving on to the 4th sister is Ulsa Nature's Mage. Now this one's quite an easy one to explain. So she costs 3 green elements to get. When she enters play, any one unit gains a 200 attack boost, which can prove quite useful early game. Rolling a 1, she misses, 2 hit, 3 draw a card, 4 gains 100 attack. And then rolling a 5, this and another unit get 100 attack this turn. Rolling a 6, you get to prevent all damage to 1 unit in battle, so she's basically like a shield to a unit. She's a 200-400 body, so she's probably got the most health out of all the sisters, but she's low on attack power. She uses the earth properties, and she's got a very supportive personality, because as you can tell, as well as her card text in the story, she does support the other sisters as well. Moving on to the star ratings, early game she gets a 3-star because, if you've played Cause, you'll imagine that early damage is everything, so she basically pumps out attack boosts for your units. And then late game she only gets 2 stars. The only reason really she's got 2 stars is because of her 6th roll, preventing damage to 1 unit. It's not as good as some of the other sisters, but it's still pretty nimble if you've only got, like, let's say, just Ulsa out herself. So, rendering your opponent's damage useless. And then the lore says Ulsa communes greatly with the powers of Mother Nature and is blessed with healing properties, as well as giving her allies a powerful strength boost. She is the 2nd youngest sister and enjoys good conversation. So yeah, she is the big sister to Iris, however she's the youngest to the rest. She's got quite a good, in one of the chapters, you do actually see quite a lot of Ulsa. In one chapter specifically, because she nearly gets shot by Kira with a bow and arrow. So yeah, that's basically all I've got for Ulsa. I think the artwork is pretty cool. I mean, a few people have mentioned that in the past on previous videos, so if you do prefer Ulsa over the others, then be sure to click that box in the top right corner. And the final mage sister utilising blue elements is Rhea the Glyph Mage. Now she costs 3 blue elements to get out into play. When she enters the battlefield, enters play should I say, you get to look at the top card of your opponent's deck. Now straight away, this is probably the hardest card to use, but if you can use it correctly, you're going to have a great insight into your opponent. So I'm going to move straight into roll 4 here. So she gains, if you roll in a 4, she gains 100 attack power. Rolling a 5, you get to look at your opponent's hand, which is quite a nice deal. And then 6, your unit's damage cannot be prevented this battle. Now, it was a tough choice between 5 and 6, which one was the more powerful one, because obviously, you know, not having your unit's damage prevented is always a really good thing, especially if it's a card which can basically try and nullify all damage in battle. Using Rhea will make just your damage actually deal damage in that battle. So moving on to her information, she uses the power of light again, very similar to Sane. However, she's got a very strict personality, and you'll probably come across that in a minute. So early game she gets 3 out of 3 stars because looking at your opponent's hand is everything. You know, if you can get this out on turn 3, then you know you can tell what your opponent's going to do straight away. However, late game I've only given her 1 star because once you already know what's in your opponent's hand, you know, the only reason really she's going to be good for is to see what your opponent has drawn next. So it's a bit, you know, it's not great, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. Moving on to the lore, Rhea is the 2nd eldest of the mages and is more of a best friend to Sane than a sister. She has telepathic abilities, and she can control weak-minded individuals when she feels it's necessary. She also has a fond interest in gemstones and crystals. So, in the story, she is quite, you know, she does follow behind Sane, similar to how Naya does to Sane. However, she is a bit more open-minded than some of the other characters. She can contain creatures, wild creatures, given that they're quite dopey. But however, she can't read the minds of the smarter people, you know, people who are like above her in the game. So I think that's quite a nice balance to the story. And the artwork, this is actually the first sister I actually drew. So yeah, that's basically Rhea, the Glyph Mage. If you like her the most, be sure to click that box in the top right corner. Okay, so yeah, that is all the Mage Sisters. Just a very quick one I want to try and point out. There's only one person who I've actually 2, but you know it's more so 1 nowadays, who actually know what happens in the story of Wrath of Course, and nobody actually knows, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone because I really want to get the story complete in my spare time. However, if you watched earlier in the video, I had a picture of Rhaenys and Kira, and they actually have a bit of beef with the 5 Mage Sisters. So in the story itself, they are connected in a way, and I'm trying not to spoil too much, but it's really interesting how, you know, I feel like I can write the story just as I feel fit. You know, I do have a conclusion in my mind how the story is going to end. However, when I'm doing chapter by chapter, I'm kind of just writing it as I think of it. So it's a very interesting topic, especially with how these characters mess about with each other. As I mentioned before, when I was going on about Ulster, and she nearly gets shot by an arrow fired by Kira. Once you realise the position all of these characters are actually in, especially Rhaenys, you know, it's something very special, and I'm actually having a lot of fun writing it. I'm just trying to find my time to complete it. So yeah, that's the video, guys, so thanks a lot. And be sure to cast your vote and leave in the comments section below who's your favourite, and if there's anything you'd like to see or know anything of more, and I'm pretty sure I'll get back to every single comment. So yeah guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.